Welcome to Economic Times. I'm Surabhi Agarwal, and today I will take you through some of the concepts around Web 3.0. In the recent past, you might have heard a lot of new buzzwords in the technology world. So Web 3.0, NFTs, blockchain, metaverse. What are they? Are they all related? Or is there something new which is going to come and completely change the way you and I interact on the internet? To give us deeper insights into this and tell us what it holds for us, we have renowned expert Akhilesh Tuteja, Global Cybersecurity Leader of KPMG International. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tuteja.
Pleasure is equally mine. Thank you, Survey.
Let's start with Web 3.0. It's the latest buzzword in the technology world right now, and there are lots and lots of theories which are floating around. Somebody says it's equal to metaverse, somebody says it's an extension of blockchain. There are people who are questioning what it can do and how will it change the way the internet functions today. We would like to understand from you what it actually means and what does it mean for a lay user like me and you.
Thank you, Surbi. So first of all, I'm glad to see Web 3.0 picking up steam yet again. It's not the first time we're talking about Web 3.0. The conversation did come up a couple of years ago and it's taking steam again. And like with most technologies, there is generally not one definition or one answer. These things evolve over time. So all the things which you talked about, crypto, blockchain, metaverse, many of those things, I think they're all in some part or the other ingredients to building a true Web 3.0 as we will be seeing in next few years. Before I actually say what Web 3.0 is, it's always a good idea to see what 1.0 and 2.0 look like so that we can draw a contrast. So imagine Web 1.0 was like listening to radio. So you just could hear or see what you wanted to do in radio or TV, but you couldn't do anything with it. So the content was what it is. It was largely static. It was playing at a time when it wanted to. And that was Web 1.0, static web pages. It did have some commerce, by the way, a little bit of shopping carts and few things. And then came Web 2.0. And the fundamental difference between 1.0 and 2.0 was the content was also user generated. So it's not something which you saw static. So it's like, when people started to, so Web 1.0 had newspaper and 2.0 had newspaper with comments. Similarly, the social media, we saw the Facebook and many other platforms come up, wherein the content is not created solely by one person, but it's actually being user generated content. Interaction, so between 1.0, which was just listening in, 2.0 was actually interaction. Now, what's 3.0? 3.0 is actually a step further from that. And why it is happening, it's not just interacting with the web, it's actually living in the web. I think in my view, pandemic has also accelerated it. So our ability to actually not just interact with web, but live within the web is in true sense Web 3.0. Two basic premise, which I think I can't say that everybody has agreed to this definition, but most people would converge to, is decentralization and ability to do contract or smart contract or live in the 3.0. So basically is that between 2.0 and 3.0, you would see a lot of decentralization. 2.0 is still highly centralized. You got big cloud companies, you got big providers. We are still as user interacting with few big nodes of large companies. I think Web 3.0 will truly decentralize. So you and I talking without having to deal with a third party. That would be one attribute. The second attribute would be some sort of smart contract so that there are no intermediaries. So 3.0 is actually built on 2.0, which is user, but you actually live inside. And therefore, the concept of meta or extended reality are all part of it.
I think one of the criticisms of Web 2.0 is that there's too much of centralization of power with the big tech companies, right? Be it Facebook or Google. They're often criticized for holding too much of user data, and it's just lying with a few companies. And you said that how Web 3.0 will lead to a lot of decentralization. Now, if we were to talk about the users, how will it change where they say access a service like Google Maps or order a cab through Uber or say order online groceries, etc. How will the experience change for them?
Web 3.0 is certainly about decentralization, but that doesn't mean that when we get to 3, the 2 disappears. So we will continue to live with 2 and 3 together. So there will certainly be some methods of centralized providers which will exist. till maybe in 10 years from now they may disappear, but in the foreseeable future that will coexist. So services like maps, for example, you might still see some sort of centralization. But you talked about, let's say, commerce or transaction. We may see that we don't need intermediaries, and again, I don't want to name companies, but intermediaries which actually I have to go through. Or similarly, today, when I have to transfer money to you today, I do need an intermediary. I need a UPI interface. I possibly need to go through a payment wallet. In 3.0, we don't have to go through that. I will be able to make a payment to you without having any intermediary. So that's, let's say, for example, one use case. The second big use case is you're seeing that people will be able to actually own digital asset. As I mentioned, that in the big thing is that people will not just interact, but people will actually live in Web 3.0, which means that in addition to having my own home, which I live in, I'll also have a digital home. I'll also have a digital real estate. I'll have digital art. I'll have digital financial resources. All of them will not have the big intermediaries to play on.
What kind of an opportunity does it give to towards technology companies and overall to the tech talent which is coming out of the country?
It's a huge opportunity for every place. I would say, it actually is positive for everyone. Certainly for the Indian IT industry, I'll come to. But one of the big difference why the Indian IT industry will see a big jump because of this is the shift in the way we live. So as I said, that currently people like you and me would still be spending 80% of our life on online systems, but we still have our real life which we interact and live with. I think the Web3 will allow people to actually spend more time and live digitally. And as I give the example, in fact, one of the Canadian investment company has bought a virtual land in Decentraland for about $2.5 million already. It's one of the large transactions that's happened. So people would actually live on that. So I'll not just be using technology for just interacting, but also living. So from that standpoint, we will see a huge explosion of new use cases to be created. We'll see huge explosion of the infrastructure to be created to support that. And of course, as a lot of things will be happening in a decentralized manner, technology will become even more paramount. And therefore, for people who are in the development space, people who are in the commerce space, it is going to have a significant increase.
Where is India on this scene?
India always catches on to the buzzwords and new trends. So if I were to say from two standpoints, one is Indian consumers and the second is Indian technology industry. I think from an Indian consumer perspective, people will get onto it rather quickly as and when we start to see some interesting use cases emerging. So for example, I'm sure you're following the NFT, which is also one of the components of the Web 3.0 in some sense. For those of you who are unfamiliar with NFTs, non-fungible tokens, wherein in the physical world you deal with art, or in the virtual world you have non-fungible tokens. So Mr. Amitabh Bachchan has created his own NFT and sold it for a fairly large sum. So in the future, we will see, for example, one of the famous dialogue from the movie Sholay, Kitne Aadmi The? Or, for example, from the movie, Amitabh Bachchan says, Mere paas maa hai. Actually, Amitabh Bachchan doesn't say that. Sorry about that. Those kind of things can actually be digitized and sold on these platforms. And I think that Indian consumer is very savvy to deal with these kind of commerce channels. So I think not only the Indian celebrities will create these NFTs, but also Indian consumers will get onto these platforms rather quickly. Coming to the Indian technology industry, I think the Indian technology industry has been always ahead in terms of catching up with some of these trends. Again, if you look at the way NASSCOM is supporting some of these initiatives to reskill people to work into newer technology, sometimes even before they become mainstream, is really helping India move forward with respect to the global competitiveness in the technology industry. The good news is that the underlying technologies used to build this kind of system are not completely alien. We are dealing with those technologies even today. It's about how do we build those use cases and take them to the next level.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Tuteja. It was a pleasure talking to you.